As I've often said, there are only two Alien films. There are other Alien films, but they don't measure up to the first two, and the first two are the only ones worth watching. I know this because I've seen the other films, and for the purposes of review, revisiting them. So, after two really good and successful films, a third one was inevitable, and eventually they got there, and they made Alien 3. And the first thing you gotta ask is, well, what's the next story, you know, after all of this? And what would be the point to it and all that, and what elements already established can you stretch into more story and all that? The idea that the company wanted the alien for some mysterious reason. It was mentioned for a weapons division, and that's about it. Since then, of course, now it's more akin to the mysterious black goo of the engineers and all that. But nevertheless, there was, brief mentions that there's some war going on, and one would assume that it's a rebellion against the controlling authority that's initially from Earth, going out into space in these different colonies and all that. So you could have done something of that nature, and apparently there was a script for that, but it didn't come to be. There was another version of the one that does happen, but even that is, I do not like Alien 3. I think the entire approach was just bad from the get-go, and it's just so damn depressing, and with no redeeming qualities even in that, as it's depressing and dark and all that sort of thing, but at the same time it gets more and more stupid as you go, and just such a waste of opportunity. And it just didn't happen. So, after the victory that Ripley achieved, the end of Aliens, she's almost kind of found a happy chance at a family here. She's got a little romantic interest in the Michael Biehn character. She's all but adopted Newt, and it was a nice little get-together there. And they've got their pet android. They could fix him up and they'd be good. But that's not what happened. They're going along, and somehow another alien was on the ship. Oh boy, how'd that happen? Well, I guess the queen alien must have pooped another little egg out, and oh boy, here comes the face hugger and gets on one of the surviving crew members while they're in deep sleep, you know. Gee, I wonder who it could be. It was Ripley. So she's got a chest buster growing inside her. Yeah. So they crash on this planet, which is actually an abandoned. There's some, I guess, a mining colony and a ore processing. I don't know. Anyway, overall, it was a prison. And these guys had done some forced labor there and all that. But it had been decommissioned, and they just kept a maintenance crew. And some of the prisoners, they had nowhere to go, even though their sentences were at end or pardoned or what have you. But nobody would want them around because they're really vile guys. But in the meantime, they all found religion, and their main minister is their leader. And so that's the deal. I think one of the initial ideas is that there would have been these monks in space that Ripley crashed into, or whatever it was, ended up with. But now it's this abandoned prison, and you've got these guys there with a very, very small maintenance crew overseeing them. And in all of this, Ripley being the only survivor of the previous film. So Michael Biehn's character's dead, Newt's dead, Bishop the android is in bad shape already anyway, and they just throw him in a junk pile. He gets a brief scene where Ripley uses him to access computer files about what happened on the Sulaco from, the ship that they were in. And that's it, and he's done. Apparently there's another Bishop android at the end, though he claims to be the real guy that the android was based on. Yeah, well, I don't know, that when he gets injured and he kind of looks like his ear was fake and hanging off the side of his head. So either way, it doesn't matter. The rest of it is, they don't want any women around because most of them are rapists and all this sort of stuff. And they're trying to keep her separate, all that sort of stuff. Of course, there's going to be an attempted rape and all of that. And I'll get back to that, how this scene was wasted. And first of all, she finds out her fellow companions are dead, especially Newt, and it's all heartbreaking, but she wants to make sure Newt was that there wasn't any alien, because she discovers some acid burns on the equipment from the ship. So she's already, after all of this, she starts flirting with this doctor they have on staff there. And they're building this up. I don't buy that. I can understand him being sympathetic towards her and listening to her and caring about her and all that, but the idea to jump immediately into a romantic relationship between them was a bit much. More for her than him. I mean, he's a lonely man. Here's this woman. He likes her and all that. Okay. But it wouldn't go any further than that. I just don't think she'd be in the mood. But they do. They hook up and everything. And don't worry, he gets killed by the alien. So no chance of happiness there either. But so she knows there was something happened, but she doesn't know quite what. And then eventually the creature starts attacking. First a dog, and then starts attacking the people one by one. And, Ripley's like, oh, there must be something here. And then she begins to realize that she's supposed to be basically quarantined in the medical lab because the main warden or whatever he is doesn't want her around because he thinks it'll be dangerous for the creeps, and sure enough, it does occur, almost, but the minister, as it were, beats them off and saves her from potential rape there. Now, the big reveal is that, as I already stated, Ripley, the facehugger, got her while she was in cryogenic sleep, and she discovers this at some point and realizes, oh no, it's going to burst out, and she can see it on the monitor, and the medical monitor, that it's going to be a queen, which makes it even more dangerous because she can produce more of these monsters. And so she says, I got to be killed before it happens. And so she seeks out the alien, the creature, to get it to attack her. And she's already encountered it once when it killed her new boyfriend that she met, 5 minutes ago. But it killed him, and then it approached her, and she's like, oh God, this is it. And then it just sort of sniffs her and then runs away. So that was your first clue. And then when she tries to get it to kill her, it won't do it. And she realizes the reason it won't is because it knows she's pregnant with the queen alien. So it's not going to hurt her. It'll kill everybody else, but not her. And as the rape scene goes, wouldn't it have been interesting if the alien is the one that saves her from the rapists? Just slaughters them all. She's like, what the hell? But it didn't occur to them, so no, it's not what happens. And it just devolves after that. They come up with a plan to trap it and all this sort of stuff. And okay, it goes south, and they got to try something else. And then she explains the company's coming, and they're not going to save you. They just want the creature and all that. And they've got the main leader gets killed outright, and his lieutenant or what have you is quite the idiot. And he thinks the rescue people are coming to save him. It takes him a while to figure out they're not, and all that sort of thing. But basically, the dialogue just goes below substandard. They have these scenes where they've got to come up with a plan to defeat the monster, and then she gets in an argument with the preacher guy, and he's like, why should I help you? And it's like, because the monster's gonna kill us all. It was so stupid, but they had to do this man versus woman crap and get that dialogue in there for no scene whatsoever, or no reason for whatsoever than for that. And it just, it's so bad. You know, and the positives about it, as the outer space scenes look good, some of the scenes of the station's okay. It's a good set for what it is. But the alien itself, they got this animated version of it just so they could show it running really fast, way more faster, because they end up doing yet another trap at the end, leading it, and there's no way they could outrun that thing. Yet they do. A few don't, but none of them could have with the speed it was showing. And plus, they had the animated version of it, so you could show it crawling on the ceiling like Spider-Man. And that sort of thing. It was pretty cheesy looking. It didn't work. But you know, but it doesn't matter because the story was so bad. And it's just, oh, we're trapped and there's an alien, and that's, of course, that's where you got to end up, in an alien movie. But there was really no justifiable concept here to pursue this any further. Certainly not in this direction. So, you know, they succeed in killing it, but then the company arrives, and they know, due to, they've been monitoring the communications with them, I guess, and they realize Ripley is impregnated with one of the creatures. And at first they say, hey, look, we've got we know how to surgically remove it, and we can save you and all that. She doesn't trust them, of course. That's not what they really want to do. They just want the damn creature. And so she does herself in. She dives, backflips, if you will, like the Nestea plunge, into a vat of lava, you know. And the creature bursts out at the last minute, and then that's it for Ripley. Oh, yeah, there you go. That's the send-off for one of sci-fi's greatest heroes. And that's it. It's so stupid. And of course they're like, damn, that's too bad. So the company guys leave. I don't know that I guess they're now, the alien creature that they destroyed, it exploded and stuff, and they did a lot of damage to it. They heated it up with very hot oil and then sprayed it with cold water, and this caused it to burst because of the conflicting temperatures, and it exploded. But there's bits and pieces of it all over the place, so the company could scoop all that up and make something with it. So you could have done that. That's not, maybe you could say they did, but that's not exactly what happens in the fourth one. But oh boy, it's just nobody was thinking. No one really tried. Well, someone did, because they had other ideas. And I'm always forgetting the guys. Is it Blomkamp? The guy who did District 9 had this attempt to redo Alien 3, and he had a much better concept. Ripley, Newt, and Michael Bihn's character, they survived, and they do come in contact with these rebels and whatnot, and so it's a different narrative like that. And with that take on it, you could have had a scene where it's like Sigourney Weaver hands it off to her, you know, adopted daughter in that case, and you could have continued on with more stories with her, perhaps, if she was like, look, I've done enough of these and all that. But it didn't happen because Ridley Scott wanted to come back and relive his past glories, and did Prometheus, which was sort of interesting but fizzled, and then Covenant, which is the absolute worst alien movie, even worse than this, that has been made. And it's all very sad that it didn't occur, but that's what happened. But man, did they really drop the ball on here. The one thing I would give Ridley Scott, because especially his pursuit of Prometheus, that was another story to tell. I don't think he did it well, but Alien 3, you could have just had it where the Sulaco was damaged and crashed back on the planet. They nuked the colony, so that's gone. But the alien ship that had the space jockey in it was still out there, but a great distance from the colony. And they could have encountered that, and the mysteries of the space jockey could have been further delved into. It would still end up being, you're getting chased by the monsters, but, you'd have some other angle to it instead of, well, they're trapped, and here's the monster, and that's it. This thing, hey, look, it's these prisoners who are now in this futuristic Christian group or what have you, and originally it was supposed to be monks in space, and okay, but and then the monster kills them all. There was just really nothing there to redeem it. The music was good. I did like the soundtrack. It has some good pieces in it. It's pretty cool. And the opening, especially how it does with the 20th Century Fox fanfare, and then it just sort of melts. It's got a cool sound, but and it's just wasted. It just really wasn't anything there, and it's unfortunate. And it doesn't really get better from there. It actually gets worse. But of the failed, and they're all failures, sequels, the recent Alien Romulus is the closest you'll get. But it, too, is quite the failure. So, it's too bad. And, I mean, sometimes you just can't do a sequel to everything. They got two that are very good. And it's demonstrated by the second one, where it makes its own story and is quite the departure in a lot of ways of the original film. If you can't figure out how to do that, then there's really no reason. And of course, maybe you do have something, but it's just kind of stupid like this, So, yeah, it seems like this is what you got. You're going to go forward with this, spend the money, and build this thing. Yeah, okay. They did, and that's it. And there's been people chasing Alien ever since, and nobody's come up with anything. And that's quite a few chances. I'm beginning to think, well, not beginning, I'm already there. There's nothing to pursue anymore. Now, there's comic books and stuff like that, and some people say the video games are really cool and have good, cool narratives to them and all that. So there's that. Should have looked to some of that for inspiration for a new film, but I don't know. So the next thing will be the FX TV series that Noah Hawley's doing. Well, we'll see, but count me extremely dubious. But with lowered expectations, it only needs to be kind of good for me to be pleasantly surprised. So it could be that. But Alien 3, man, was that a massive letdown. And it's a shame, but that's what happens.